I've been a lawyer for going on 25 years now here in North Carolina. Started off doing kind of a general practice, but probably the last 10 to 15 years, I've done primarily criminal defense. And my main focus now is the high level criminal defense, homicides, murders, rapes, things like that. So I tend to take the more complicated cases and tend to take a lot of cases to trial. So I just love being here in Durham.
Yeah. And so you've had tons and tons of trial experience, courtroom experience. You're a graduate of UNC Law School, right?
Yeah, I graduated from UNC Law School. Prior to that, I went to Notre Dame for undergrad. And yeah, I don't count them, but I've probably had north of 100 trials.
Wow. Okay, that's great. Don't you also have a M.B.A.?
Yeah, I've got an M.B.A. Right. I used to do corporate law. I've got an M.B.A. and a master's in health administration as well. So I kind of went Notre Dame, University of Alabama, Birmingham, hospital administration, Carolina for law school, and then the legal profession. And I started off doing corporate and civil law, decided I liked litigation and that stuff better. And criminal defense is the best place to be. It's more of a courtroom practice than anything else.
Yes, exactly. Okay, so if we have time after this, then hopefully you can answer some questions from the chat. Okay, so today we're going to have you react to a portion of Wendy Adelson's testimony at her mother's murder trial, which is still going on in Florida. So have you done much reading about this case?
I did. I actually, because I had done this before when her brother, I think it was her brother.
Charlie.
Charlie was on trial for it. And this case is just weird because, I mean, it's a fascinating case, but it's just weird because the person who you would think would be at the center of it is the person who they still haven't charged. And yet she's running around helping convict all of her co-conspirators. You would expect at some point one of them to say, whoa, wait a minute, let me cut a deal to get her. So it's just a weird dynamic.
Mm-hmm. Well, the mother did send her a text after Charlie's conviction saying that everyone has sought to protect you. Now you're not guilty. Your lawyer has protected you or advised you well. And she tells her, you can bury me in that dress I bought for your son's bar mitzvah.
Nice. I had missed that part. That's funny.
Yeah. So, okay, well, thank you so much for doing a little bit of background research on this. So you sort of have an idea of what's going on, that the family is suspected of conspiring with some other people to get a hitman to kill Dan Markell, who is a law professor. Okay.
Right. And Wendy's ex-husband, correct?
Yes, that's right. Dan Markell and Wendy got divorced in 2013, and he was shot in July of 2014. Then 3 days later, she packs up the car with her kids and she's out of there, moving back down to South Florida to be with her family. Yeah. Okay. So let's play this for, say, like 5-minute chunks. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Did you think he was more devout in his faith than you were?
I don't know that. I feel like devoutness has to do with maybe a relationship with God. And I don't know that his was more strong than mine. But he was more observant of kosher rules than I was.
Okay. Can you explain for the jury what those imply?
Sure. So keeping kosher has to do with separating milk from meat, something like you can't eat a cheeseburger. And it has to do with the ritual way that animals are killed. So certain meats would be considered kosher or non-kosher. And then things like shellfish are not allowed, or pork would not be allowed. And so his beliefs changed over time. We used to have bacon, and then bacon became a no later on.
All right. And those rules were something that he was wanting to impose on the children, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And you were less interested in those kosher rules?
It was less important to me.
Sorry to interrupt, but this is important. The shooter who murdered my sweet little Daniel.
All right. Were both you and Mr. Markell raised within the Jewish faith?
We were, yes.
When you separated from Mr. Markel, did you move out of the marital home while he was on a business trip?
I did, yes.
Where did you go when you left the marital home?
I went to another property that I had rented for the boys and me.
Was that at 3303 Aqua Ridge Way?
Yes,
Was that located in Leon County?
yes.
Okay. What was the custody arrangement? Broad terms are fine for this time frame during the separation.
I think we were just trying to figure out how to make it work. We didn't have any formal custody arrangement at that time. I remember his parents came to town that weekend and I made sure that he had the boys that weekend. We were just trying to figure out how to make it work until we had something formal.
Was the arrangement roughly 50-50 or something else?
It would have been roughly 50-50.
Okay. And were you mixing it up during the week or was it a week on, week off situation?
It wasn't week on, week off. We didn't settle into that until the first summer, or maybe the second summer. I don't remember. That was more of a summer arrangement. But it was 50-50 and definitely a mix during the week.
Okay. I'm going to publish what's been introduced into evidence as State's Exhibit 60. Your petition. Was your mom, Donna Adelson, involved at all in drafting your divorce documents?
No,
Did she ever make any edits to any of the filings that you made pursuant to your divorce?
I think she made suggestions, but I had an attorney, a very good attorney helping me through the process. So she wasn't editing legal documents.
Did you ever forward any of your mom's suggestions to your lawyer?
I probably did.
And when you did that, would you attribute them to your mom or would you just forward them along without noting whether they were your questions or your mom's questions?
I honestly don't remember.
Was this a contentious divorce?
It was.
As part of your divorce, did you file a petition to ask the court for permission to relocate to South Florida?
I did.
And I think that was your amended petition. Not sure if we can see that very well. Here we go. It says the wife also desires to relocate to South Florida in order to provide a better quality of life for the children by increasing their access to close family and providing more stability and consistency. Who was the close family that was available in South Florida for the boys?
My mom, my dad, and my brother.
Why did you want to move to South Florida?
I had very unstable employment in Tallahassee. I had a wonderful job, but it was on grant money. So year to year, I never knew if I would still have my job. I had a job offer that was very good in South Florida. And the assumption was that Danny was always going to be at a different school, a better school. He used to joke that he would take one bar exam for every 2 bar exams that I had to take while we moved around the country. And so it seemed like a way of having stability while he was climbing up the law professor ladder to be ultimately at Harvard or Yale.
And was relocation important to you?
It was, in terms of having a safe and stable place for my kids.
Did you consider having to live here in Tallahassee being stuck? Or had you referred to it previously as being stuck in Tallahassee?
I mean, I may have. The idea of being stuck is if you don't have permission to live anywhere you want to live. But I had a nice quality of life here.
Did you consider the worst case scenario to be that you would end up stuck here in Tallahassee if your petition was denied?
I don't know. I mean, at the time, I may have felt that way.
Okay. Might you have sent an email to a friend on March 24th of 2013 indicating, quote, I do fear that the worst case scenario that could happen is that I will be stuck here in Tallahassee?
It's possible that I sent that.
Would it refresh your recollection to review that item?
I'm happy to.
It's on tab 6 on one of those binders in front of you. Let me see which one it is. It's going to be
This one. I see it's highlighted. So yes.
Okay. And did you also email a friend around the same time frame regarding life in Tallahassee couldn't compare to the life that you would be able to enjoy in South Florida with your brother, Charlie, and his boat and pool and hot tub and things like that?
It's certainly possible.
Okay, that's on tab 7. Please refresh your recollection.
Yes.
And in fact, didn't you use the word stuck in your actual motion for relocation? We can get there. Here, the wife is merely stuck in Tallahassee until the husband decides that the time is right for him to leave.
So my attorney did write that, and that sounds right.
Did Tallahassee feel claustrophobic to you?
Well, at this point in time, Danny was making lots of unplanned announcements to my office where we work together. So I would see him at work. I never knew when he was showing up. So I'm sure, this is 12 years ago that's how I felt at that time.
Okay. But outside of the context of your relationship with Dan Markell, did you ever express that just the smallness and slowness of Tallahassee made you feel claustrophobic?
I don't remember saying that.
Please refer to tab 8 to refresh your recollection.
Your Honor, if I may ask, state tell us you're just saying the cabinet, so we're not sure what document you're referring to.
Yes, I can.
Binder is up on the witness stand. Ms. Keppelman as the defense have a copy of the same binder.
No. I'll show them the tab.
Please do.
Okay. Any comments on this so far?
I mean, it's the prosecutor's doing a good job of, asking the questions. And then when she's being a little evasive or not answering, saying, are you sure you didn't do this? You sure you didn't do that? And you can definitely see her reaction where she's a little shaken by the fact that they have the emails and it's good to start them off with these fairly minor things. I mean, it's divorce, it's Tallahassee. A lot of people don't like Tallahassee, but they're letting her know that, they've got the receipts to back up what they're asking. And that'll be more, they're going to try to get that more important later on to try to get her to not be evasive, to say, look, when we ask you questions, just give us the answer. Because if you don't, we've got the proof as to what we're asking, which then also lets them a little later on, if perhaps they don't have the proof and it's more speculative, it may still encourage her to be more forthcoming because she knows that they're walking her down everything. Because I mean, at the end of the day, does it really matter? She doesn't like Tallahassee? Not really. I mean, it's a small town, but it's helping lay the groundwork and get her used to, they're asking questions they already know the answer to. They just need her to be open and honest and forthcoming.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it does matter about whether she liked Tallahassee, because that was probably one of the reasons why Dan Markell was killed, because she tried to get permission from the family court judge to take the kids and move away from Tallahassee back in 2013. The judge denied it with prejudice. So, of course, she and her family are all riled up and angry as heck, wondering, like, how is she ever going to get away from Tallahassee? It's a horrible place. She doesn't have this big eligible dating pool of rich men. Her job is year-to-year contract, doesn't pay as much as her ex-husband's job. So they all thought Tallahassee was a horrible, Hickville bumpkin town.
Right. I think it's that. But it also, I think, was more to get away from him. I mean, she probably would have been unhappy wherever if she wasn't close. What I thought was interesting, I didn't realize she worked presumably at the law school with him.
Yeah, but a contract position, like a clinical law professor, as opposed to her ex-husband who was tenured and made a lot more. So
I am a little surprised that they didn't have a binder for the defense attorneys. Just because normally if you're going to put something up there on the stand for the witness that's as big as a binder, you'd have that for the defense rather than one at a time. But they're doing a good job of laying out where they're at. And she's starting to realize that, again, they know what they're talking about.
Yeah. And also, yes, definitely this time around, this is the fourth trial in the Dan Markell murder saga. So, of course, the prosecutor is the same. Georgia Kappelman is the lead prosecutor here. So she knows that Wendy Adelson has in the past been very evasive and trying to lie on the stand. She'll just say anything. So I think this time around, she had every single exhibit to back up things if Wendy tried to lie. So,
and especially because it also probably matters because this is her mother. So she's probably concerned a little bit about, how is she going to react about testifying against her mother? Where do Wendy's loyalties really lie? Truly with herself, or is she going to give, just family obviously put themselves on the line that would benefit her. And I guess Eventually, if she's ever charged, there will be a trial determining whether or not she knew that.
Yeah. So most of us think that she is going to get charged. There's been more things brought out at this trial that kind of point towards her involvement in this whole conspiracy. So, okay, you're ready to keep going?
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
Everyone uses the internet.
That's a dense one. Were you able to find it?
I did. I found it's part of a sentence. Can I read the whole sentence?
Sure.
Tallahassee feels claustrophobic at times, given its smallness and slowness, and the fact that my friends cycle through here with transient regularity. So yes, at that moment in time, that's how I was feeling in 2013.
And relocation was pending at the time that you were feeling that way in that moment, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And relocation was also very important to your mother, wasn't it?
Yes,
All right. And did you have some discussions with your mother about relocation?
I did.
And was that during that time frame when it was pending?
Yes,
Okay. And do you see your mother in the courtroom here today?
yes.
Could you please point her out and describe what she's wearing?
My mom is on right. I can't see her clothes from here, but she's directly across from me.
All right. Is she wearing a headset on her head?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Let the record reflect the
Your
witness has
viewers are
identified the
right in
defendant.
their comments. She's nervous about
Your
her
mom didn't
mother.
want you to be stuck in Tallahassee either, did she?
Oh, what did you say? Sorry.
I said I've seen some of the comments going across. She definitely seems rattled, and just even there with the emotion, I think she's. I think forensic RN is right. Some of the other ones is, seeing her mom realizing who she's testifying against and the consequences of this trial is rattling her a bit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, she does a pretty good job in general of keeping her composure, especially when she's telling some big lie and being evasive. But at least when she was told to look at her mom and point her out, that did visibly shake her.
Right, because that makes it real to her. It's easy to look at the prosecutor and just give stories, but looking your mom in the eyes and say, "Oh, the person I'm testifying about is my mom sitting right there wearing these clothes." I mean, it's a small thing, but it's a reminder to her of what she's doing. But I bet she almost never looks at her mother the rest of the trial.
Yeah, I don't think so. Okay, shall we go on? Okay.
She did not.
She wanted the best for you, right?
She saw the best for me as not being in Tallahassee. Yes.
That's right. She referred to being in Tallahassee that you were a hostage and a prisoner, right?
Yes, she did.
Oh no. Clickergate continues. Prisoner. Close enough. Did your mom express concerns that as a Tallahassee native, the judge presiding over your relocation motion would underestimate how much better it would be for you to live in South Florida?
She did.
All right, let me ask you a few questions about your parents. Your mom is Donna Adelson. Who's your dad?
My dad is Harvey Adelson.
And where did your parents, I think you said they were in Coral Springs back in 2012?
Yes,
Is that
ma'am.
right? Okay. How long had they lived in the Coral Springs area?
I was born there. So from I think they started living there when my oldest brother was born. So since the early 70s.
So fair to say they had deep roots there in that area.
Yes.
Can you describe the relationship that your mom had with your kids during the time frame we're talking about? So separation to murder time frame?
It was very close. My mom taught my boys how to read. She taught them how to play chess. It was very close.
Were your parents employed during that time frame?
Yes.
What kind of work did they do?
My dad was a dentist and my mom was the office manager for the dental practice.
All right. And what about your brother, Charlie? Did he have a role there as well?
He was a periodontist. And so I believe at some point he purchased the practice. I don't remember what year that was. But he would sometimes work from my dad's office and sometimes work from other offices around South Florida.
Was the dental practice, the family dental practice, a successful business?
I believe it was. My family never discussed money or finances with me, but I believe it was doing well.
Did you discuss your marital problems and resulting legal issues with your mom?
I
Talked
did.
about relocation, but in general, you did talk about your woes with your mom.
I did.
Okay. And I think you said you did send many of your divorce pleadings to her. Is that right?
I did.
What about your dad? What was his role in reference to your divorce pleadings?
I don't remember exactly. My parents have a shared email. So when I send an email to one of them, I would send it. It was being sent to both, but I don't know who was reading what or at what time.
Is it fair to say they were both welcome to read whatever you sent to that email address?
Yes.
And both welcome to reply as well?
Yes.
Who would reply more frequently, your mom or your dad? To this
My mom
text?
would reply more frequently.
Who took more of an interest in the day-to-day ins and outs of your litigation?
Probably my mom.
Okay. Is your mom overprotective of you?
Yes.
Is your mom an emotional person?
Yes.
What about your dad? Is he emotional as well?
I think so.
Okay. Did you previously say he was more of a straight shooter and mom was more emotional?
I think so, but I think women tend to be more emotional and men tend to be less emotional.
Okay.
Before you continue, Ms. Kappelman, I am going to admit state 60 JJ at this time. Is there any objection the defense wishes to raise?
Yes, Your Honor. Same objection.
The court admits it over objection. For the record, you may continue.
And I think that's the same exhibit that's in state 64AA, Judge. It's not necessary to have duplicates, but because of the way the evidence came out in this trial, that is present in state 64 as well.
States 64AA is admitted. As far as the final record, if you wish to remove one, you may, but both are admitted for the record.
Thank you, Judge. All right. Is it fair to say that your mom, the defendant, is a controlling person?
I don't think my mom is a controlling person.
Did you say at one time back in 2013 that your mom operates with emotional subterfuge?
I may have said that.
Would you like to refresh your memory?
If you're turning 65 or beyond, you're going to want to watch this. There are a lot of people today that are Medicare.
I can.
It's tab 45 in the binder in front of you.
I'm not seeing it. Is it highlighted or is it just in the, it's a long, oh, no.
Copyright for the first paragraph on page 3.
That one we just walk and show the witness a portion of what you wish for her to read to herself.
I will, Judge. Page 3.
This is 3, I think.
Yeah, somewhere there. Let me get the other copy. Or I've lost it again. Let me try it.
I'm sorry.
In this copy.
Okay. Okay.
So the question was, did you previously say your mom operates with emotional subterfuge?
Yes.
What is meant by that?
I honestly don't know what I meant at the time.
But not that she's controlling.
I don't think that's what I meant.
Did Dan Markell have a hard time understanding some of your mom's behaviors?
I don't remember that.
Well, did she think you incapable of driving to South Florida by yourself with the kids? This is back when they were little.
Yeah, I don't think she thought I was incapable, but I was breastfeeding and it was helpful to have someone with me.
So what was her practice to avoid you having to do that?
One of my parents would come with me for the long drive.
So they would rent a car, come up here, ride back with you, and then follow the same procedure to get you home.
They would drive with me if I was down there, back up, and then rent a car to come home.
And
Okay. Any comments?
I mean, right now, again, they're just obviously trying to they're still catching her on when she says stuff because she's still reluctant to completely badmouth her mother. But the state is clearly laying out that the mom was controlling and trying to talk about, but saying, Wendy was part of it because Wendy's trying to toe that line of saying, yes, I was my own person, but mom was controlling because for her to get away from this, she's going to have to say my mother came up with this on her own to protect me. And the prosecutor is kind of giving her enough rope to say that. And so I'm sure later on they're going to bring it back and say, no, because y'all were still talked about everything. So I think they're still doing a good job of laying out that Wendy, it would be unusual for her not to know what was going on because she was the one complaining about all this stuff. They talked all the time. And then suddenly mama doesn't, comes up with this whole plan to kill without telling her daughter.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
still doing the good job of laying out, what did you say this? Did you say this? Did you say that? And she's clearly not overly excited with kind of where they're pushing that.
Well, what about the fact that if she didn't have this use and derivative use immunity, she would have refused to testify and pled the fifth? I mean, does that tend to make you think that she was involved, that there's something fishy about this? Because usually witnesses show up when they're subpoenaed. They don't get attorneys.
That depends. I mean, that's hard to say, because when you're talking about a serious case like this, one of the reasons witnesses tend not to get attorneys is attorneys tend to be very expensive, and that witness can't afford them. But I do think that since she immediately did that and started getting all this immunity, obviously getting the immunity, I would never encourage someone to testify without some sort of immunity. But I do think her pleading the fifth, exercising her right to remain silent, that doesn't get used against you in criminal. But the thing that people always tend to forget is, I exercise my, because my answer would tend to incriminate me. If the answer doesn't incriminate you, you can't plead the fifth because it's not bad. So if she's saying I would plead the fifth on this, that strongly implies that there's a reason to be pleading the fifth. So I definitely agree with that. But she also had the means to hire a lawyer that a lot of other people didn't. And, we'll see if they ever end up arresting her, but clearly she seems to have been involved somehow.
Yeah. So her attorney is John Lauro, who was also Trump's attorney. I'm sure he charges a lot, and he's had to travel up there to represent her. So before Wendy even testified, he gave a little speech just telling everybody that she is here because she was subpoenaed and because she has that use and derivative use immunity. Otherwise, she would have pleaded the fifth. So I thought that was interesting to highlight the point that, okay, that's weird. Otherwise she wouldn't even wanted to testify.
Yeah, it is weird to highlight that. I mean, obviously she doesn't want to testify against her mother, brother, whatever, but to highlight it and to say, otherwise she would plead the fifth. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely sending a message. And I don't think the family is overly impressed that she's there because of a subpoena. They're clearly not happy that she's going to be testifying because people find ways not to testify. But that is interesting, and clearly that lawyer's sending out a message.
Yeah. And don't you agree that Wendy is a necessary witness to this? Because some people kept saying, well, why don't they just go ahead and arrest her? Why hasn't she been arrested yet? And one of my experienced prosecutor friends came on a show and he said, look, they need Wendy to lay the foundation or the background of why the murder occurred, to talk about how contentious the divorce was and all these problems that she and Dan Markel were having.
And there is something to be said for that, because if she's a co-defendant, they could not put her on the stand. Because she would definitely plead the fifth then, and you're not allowed to put someone on the stand just to plead the fifth. Although it seems odd to me how cooperative she's being, because normally they could arrest everybody and then start cutting deals with folks. That's normally what they do. Because by delaying with her, I mean, there's been so many trials, she gets to lay the entire groundwork and see what the prosecution's case is. And now if she does get charged, there's going to be so much fighting over, did this come from what I said in court or not? Although I think they can't use what she says against her, but they certainly can investigate based on what she says. And if they find independent means for it, it's usually how the immunity works. But it is just odd that they have not charged her yet, because normally I understand that process, and that tends to be more in the feds, because the feds love for everyone to, squeal uphill. States tend to charge everybody and let the jury sort it out. So it is kind of interesting in that regard.
Okay. Ready to continue?
Yep.
Okay. Thank you.
And did that procedure occur the week before the murder? There was a visit the week before the murder, correct?
I think it was 2 weeks before.
Okay. And on that trip, is that how it was handled, where they rented a car and came up to get you?
Yes.
Did your dad think that was necessary, or was that a mom thing?
No, my dad probably thought it was more necessary.
Okay. And did your dad make a practice of supporting whatever your mom wanted? Is that kind of the general rule?
Yeah.
Was she the dominant force in the household?
I mean, I think my dad had more of a quiet strength, so it's hard to say who was a dominant force. I think they were both equally strong in their parenting.
Okay. Did you previously describe this back in 2013 that your mom was the dominant force in the household? If you need to refresh, it's tab 97.
Okay. So this one goes up to 93. Is it?
Check the very back. Got a few extras tucked in there. I'll just approach this copy.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Yes.
You did say mom was the dominant force in the household.
Yes.
Did your mom ever try to micromanage your life,
Yes.
your career?
Don't know about my career. I chose to be a lawyer. It wasn't a very popular choice in my household.
Yes. And there were different types of areas of law that she would have preferred you practice. Do you agree with that?
I actually think they were really proud of what I was doing.
Not to suggest she wasn't proud of you, but she was encouraging you to pursue a different type of law that would be more lucrative. Do you remember that?
I do. Yeah.
And what about your dating life? Did she meddle there?
Yes.
Did she create a dating profile for you on Match.com?
I don't know if it was Match.com, but I do remember a dating profile at some point.
That she created for you?
I didn't use it, but yes.
And conducted searches for men in the Miami area and sent them to you. Remember
This was
that?
when I was living in DC, maybe.
Okay, and let's go forward a little bit here. Sorry, we'll get there.
I told my grandpa it was a scam, but he bought it anyways. It's called the Jet Flux, and it's a German-designed gadget.
Okay, so here we have an email dated January 17th, 2013. For the record, this is 64I. And it reads, so honey, so you think I'm nuts, but when you get a moment, check out some of these whom I've pre-screened for you. And these are guys in Miami, right? After all, you're going to be in Miami here and there. Why not see who's out there, right?
Yes.
Okay. And here's some options that she sent you. Here's an interesting guy, etc. Okay. Did you ever feel like your mom was walking all over you?
I don't remember feeling that way.
Okay. What about specifically regarding this divorce?
I don't. I mean, I had a really good attorney and I was making the decisions I wanted to make.
Okay. And did you, back in April of 2013, tell a friend that you were trying to find a way to coexist with your mom that didn't feel like she was trampling your autonomy?
I'm sure I said that in 2013.
How did your mom feel about Dan Markel in this time frame, 2012 to 2016?
And I think I think a lot changed between 2012 and 2016. So I think her feelings about him changed over time.
Okay. And what about in 2016? Did she hate Dan Markel?
No, not in 2016.
What about 2014? Did she hate him then?
No.
Did you say do you remember giving a law enforcement interview in reference to this case?
Yes, I remember.
That was the same day that Mr. Markel was shot, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And did you say in that interview, for court and counsel, I'm referring to page 288, lines 24 through 289, line 1, quote, my parents have more reason to dislike Danny than almost anyone else?
At that point, I was sitting with law enforcement for 6 hours and had just been told that Danny had been shot. So I was in shock and I was trying to help the police think of anything I could possibly think of that would be helpful.
And are you suggesting that after 6 hours, you became fatigued to the point that you started saying things that weren't true?
No, I didn't say anything that wasn't true. I just was in shock. I just kept talking and talking and talking.
When your mom is really upset about something, does she talk about it a lot?
Yes.
And when she talks about it a lot, and I'm referring you back to this time frame, Does she talk to your brother Charlie specifically a lot?
My mom and Charlie have always talked a lot.
Okay. And was Charlie kind of like your mom's problem solver?
I don't know about that. I kind of feel like it was where she would help him, where throughout childhood and adulthood, she would help him solve problems. Not really.
She definitely did a lot for him, didn't she?
She did.
She helped him with his.
Okay. Any comments?
I mean, you can definitely see in some of the other comments have done this where she is realizing that when the questions are asked, just to answer them, she's not playing as many games, because every time she gets a little evasive, it's like, look at this tab, look at this, look at this. So that's kind of that groundwork that was being laid early on. Wendy has clearly picked up on it because she's being a lot more straight and less evasive. I find it a little odd that she said after 6 hours with law enforcement, she was trying to help them in any way. So she said, by the way, my parents hated him. Because one of the first things I always ask you is there anyone who had a problem with him or anything else? You wouldn't normally throw your parents under the bus unless she was already planning back then, trying to figure some way out of it. It's also weird that she would have willingly sat there. I mean, she's a lawyer. Why are you being interrogated for 6 hours? She knows how to stop it. So I don't know if she was trying to show how cooperative she was or what.
Yes.
But it seems like even in the beginning, there was this plan laid out as to how she was going to handle it, because, you know, a lawyer is not going to let themselves sit there for over 6 hours being interrogated by the police unless they want to say, look, I answered all your questions. I did everything. I mean, so it sounds to me like not only was there this plan to kill him, she already had her plan as to how she would deflect blame if this, ever came back to haunt her.
Yes, exactly. And I think that it was sort of reverse psychology, where she said, oh, my brother used to make a joke about how this TV he got me was cheaper than getting a hitman. Haha,
Right.
But would never, oh, my parents hated him, but, they didn't have anything to do with it. So I feel like she wanted to plant these seeds, because she's good at doing that, to try to kind of play mind games with people. Like, oh, if she were involved, why would she, say stuff about her brother and her parents and stuff? So, but she did bring up a bunch of other potential reasons why he could have been killed. Yeah.
Right. I mean, it's just interesting because, she is but she is still laying the groundwork towards her family, whereas normally you'd want to ignore that. And I guess she just counted on her family that they wouldn't roll on her. I mean, because that, they were staying loyal, but I don't think they expected this. I certainly, that's the other interesting thing with them, is by not charging her, but having her testify against them. That's not normally how these go, because normally the families all stick together. And so I do wonder if the family regrets now not getting out in front of it and rolling on her.
Well, I think it's because there were so many layers to the conspiracy that, I think they thought they had planned the perfect crime, because they had these people walled off who then didn't communicate with each other, like the shooter, the Charlie's ex-girlfriend, Katie, then Charlie, then Donna, then Wendy. Some people suspect the father, Harvey, also had something to do with it. So I kind of feel like it was a plan that she was going to be kept clean so that she could go in to talk with the police and just keep blubbering on and acting sad. And I think she was enjoying it. She seemed to be enjoying the attention during the police interview, where she was like smiling and laughing at times and yucking it up with her friend who showed up and the victim's advocate. And they're all just like surrounding her and calming her down and giving her lots of attention.
Yeah, so she has that. And I mean, if she really thought that they had everything lined up right, one of the big things that catches most people when they talk is overconfidence. They don't think the police are going to, everyone thinks they're smarter than the police. And I think she probably certainly did that as well. She thought she was smarter than them, so she was willing to feed them a little bit and just kind of having fun with them.
Yeah.
And see, and then the person who said she wasn't interrogated, she was interviewed. And an interview with the police is an interrogation, even if they pretend it's not. That's why no one should ever talk to the police, basically.
Mm-hmm. Well, what about you? If you ever got picked up by the police, what would you do?
Ask for a lawyer. Tell them, because there's always time to talk later.
Mm-hmm.
And in my career, I've only had a very small percentage of people get their way out of crime. I mean, and the issue becomes too, are they investigating something? If you're arrested, never talk to them. If they're investigating something, you might, but usually it's better not to, because as a general rule, if the police have probable cause, they're going to arrest you. If they don't have probable cause, talking to them might give it to them. But if they have probable cause and you talk to them, you're not going to talk them out of arresting you. They're either going to arrest you or they're not. That's why the first question you always ask, if you're going to talk to them, is, am I free to go? Because then they have to tell you yes or no. If they say yes, say, I'll see you later. If they say no, then they've arrested you, and then you ask for your lawyer.
Okay.
But always ask if you're free to go.
Okay. Great advice. Thank you. Okay. Okay. So ready to continue? Yep. Okay.
Yep.
We'll probably get another ad soon. I'm sorry. I'm too cheap to pay for premium.
Yeah, that's YouTube.
His business. She helped him with his personal life, his finances, his bills, remember to pay the whatever. She was like still mothering him into adulthood, right?
Yes.
Okay. But as far as meddling in your life, did your mom feel that Charlie could make more progress with you than she could on items like who you were going to date?
I would just be guessing about that.
Okay. At the time of Dan Markel's murder, was the defendant, your mother, very angry at Dan Markel?
Before he died?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
And you hated him too, right?
At certain points, I was very frustrated with him.
Did you refer to him as an STD?
I don't remember saying that.
Tab 5.
It looks like I made that analogy.
Danny is an STD. One wrong mistake, marrying him, and this will never go away. Is that what you said?
I did.
And did you share that kind of sentiment with your mother?
I don't remember ever saying that, so I don't think it's something I said very often.
And this was said in an email on February 26th of 2013, correct?
It was.
Approximately 17 months before the murder?
Yes, I don't think it was an email, though. It looks like it was sort of an iMessage.
Okay. Did you ever refer to your ex-husband as the Dark Lord?
I don't remember saying that, but I certainly might have.
Did you refer to your ex-husband as Gibbers?
I did.
What is the meaning of Gibbers?
Gibbers was just a silly name that a friend helped me come up with to basically make him feel less scary. It was nonsense.
Did it reference Jew in boots?
That I don't remember.
It wasn't a friendly name, right?
It was a silly name.
Did you ever say that you hated Dan Markel?
I don't remember saying it, but I certainly could have.
Tab 31, please, to refresh your memory.
Choosing internet shouldn't be confusing. It should be based on how you live. Whether you're a casual...
I said that I hate him in this moment.
Okay. And did you say in that email, that same email, quote, I hate my children's dad?
I did.
And do you agree that email was sent approximately 15 months before Mr. Markel was murdered?
It was in April of 2013.
Yeah, I think that's right. Yes, ma'am. Approach with what I've marked as 56A, B, C, and 57. I asked you about the Gibbers nickname. Did you have that nickname stored in your cell phone as Dan Markel's contact name?
I did.
I can show you these exhibits and ask if they're fair and accurate. Contacts 56A. Who is that a contact for? You know,
it's my mom's phone number. So that would have been, it's a picture of Ben as a little guy and my mom.
okay, so fair and accurate contact
Yes.
from your phone for mom that time.
Yes.
And then 56B,
That's my dad.
that's his phone number.
It is.
And 56C,
That's my brother.
Charlie,
Yes.
my fair and accurate phone number for him at that time.
Yes.
And then 57, is that the contact you had in there for your ex-husband, Dan Meier?
Yes.
Judge, at this time, I asked to move in evidence 56 and 57.
Any objection?
Okay.
States 56 and 57 are admitted at this time.
Did you ever refer to your ex-husband, Dan Markel, as an emotional terrorist?
I very well could have. I don't remember saying that, but I
That one's on tab 34. I'm so sorry. Is that? Yes, I believe it is 34.
it is. I see it. I said it in December of 2013.
Approximately 7 months before his murder.
December to yes, approximately 7 months.
And tab 35, in June of 2014, did you say of your ex-husband, I hate him so?
I don't see it.
Are you on tab 35?
No, I was on tab 34. It's tab 35.
Okay, yes.
I did write that.
And that was approximately 3 weeks before Mr. Markel was murdered, correct?
Yes.
Okay, lost my clicker. Clickers are a real problem for me. All right, next I want to ask you about Mr. Markel's response to your petition to relocate. Is it fair to say he was adamantly opposed to that motion?
Yes.
All right, and you all fought over things large, of course, but also very small, like in this pleading, a tennis racket is mentioned, right?
Yes.
And, oh, jumped ahead on us. Okay, let's go back. In Mr. Markel's response, and for court and counsel, this is page 82 of Exhibit 60, he indicates the husband affirmatively alleges that the wife helped herself to non-marital assets, including money and stocks owned prior to marriage, as well as numerous personal non-marital belongings of the husband, such as luggage, bicycle, tennis racket, and family heirlooms. Did you take those things when you vacated the property?
I did remember taking his tennis racket by accident and I returned that, but otherwise I didn't take his belongings.
Did you strategize to leave him in a way that would cause or inflict maximum damage upon him?
No,
Is that something your mom ever said?
I don't remember that.
knowledge? Did you discuss with your mom how and when you would leave your marriage?
I did.
Do you recall a November 2nd, 2012 email where Dan Markel was saying to you, let's put all this aside. This is all about the kids. Let's act toward each other in a way that they can be proud of. Did he say that to you?
I remember reading an email like that.
All right. And we talked about the Aqua Ridge apartment, or I guess it was a home residence. Is this a fair and accurate photo? I've blurred your kids' faces, but of the living space there.
Thank you for doing that. Yes, that's our home.
Okay. And did your mom help you secure this place to live? Did you have any involvement in that?
She did.
Okay. What involvement did she have?
She helped me move in.
Okay. Did she help you locate the place to live?
I think so.
Okay. Did she come up and look at places with you as well?
We did.
Okay. Did Dan Markel threaten you in the pleadings with federal kidnapping charges?
He did.
And that was associated with the way he claimed that you left the marriage.
Yes.
And he says you took the kids and did not tell him where they were for several, I think I've seen days and weeks. Is that true?
It's true that he said that. It's not true that that's what happened.
What was his position on your motion to relocate?
We did talk about it before I filed it, and he was amenable to figuring it out. But once I filed it, he was against it.
Okay. Did he allege in his response that the sole stated reason that you wanted to relocate was to be closer to your parents?
He did say that in his response.
Okay. Well, I just wanted to note that it's so annoying how she won't just say yes or no, even to these types of innocuous questions. She has to restate it in a sentence. It's like she's buying time so she can think in her head how to manipulate things to make herself sound the best.
Oh,
Do
I
you
think that's
find that?
I think that's definitely what she's doing, because she doesn't want to. She wants to try to twist it so she can say, "I'm not lying, but I'm not conceding what you're saying." So she's close to it, but she's definitely being evasive. She's definitely trying to think about, you know, well, I didn't say I hated him. I said, I disliked him or something. So she is definitely trying to still keep herself some wiggle room. She also, because she has talked to so many people so many times, she's also probably trying to get worried about getting pinned down and, having completely contradicted something she said previously, especially by this point in her testimony. She knows that prosecutor has those details.
Yes, her attitude is definitely more serious because in the first couple of trials back in 2019 and 2022, she was constantly smiling. She was trying to flirt sort of with the male defense attorney. And she just seemed like she was so full of herself then. But here she seems to know that Georgia has proof of everything. So she better not, act so glib and airheaded.
I mean, I think that's a part of it. I also do think, regardless of her feelings towards her mother, she's also probably feeling a different level of pressure, knowing that, they want to use her testimony to send her mother to prison for the rest of her life.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because what Georgia Kappelman is trying to get at is that her mom was so overtly involved in everything. And she was very vindictive towards Dan Markel after Wendy decided to separate. And she was totally involved with helping to plot with her, figuring how to separate from him back in 2012 and what to do with her legal case.
But I mean, on the other hand, though, that gets to be a double-edged sword, because if you paint the mother as too controlling and too vindictive, then if Wendy does get arrested, she then says, my mom did it all by herself because she was still trying to protect me even to the end. She did what she did to help me. And I think you can kind of see that's where I think the prosecutor is doing a good job of, well, but you always talk to your mother. Your mother isn't doing things without telling you. Because that ultimately is clearly is Wendy's defense in all of this is, look, I didn't have anything to do with it. My mom, my brother, all these other people were willing to kill my ex-husband for me without ever telling me about it. Mm-hmm. And so that's kind of that fine line on making her too controlling.
Yeah. But, if Wendy does get arrested, she would get a totally new trial, new jurors and stuff who don't have to hear this prosecution theme. So I think right now they're focusing on Donna.
Right. And I think you're right. And I think that's one of the things, as far as part of the immunity and stuff is not being able to use it, is, I don't think Wendy would be able to use it either. She can't go back and say, well, in a prior trial, I mean, it's what's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Yeah.
I think you're right. The prosecutions don't have to stay with the same theme. They can try two different co-defendants on two different theories of a case. And I think that is right there. She's trying to paint the mother as she would do this. And then in her trial, she's, going to have her mother already convicted and say, and you did it with her.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Do you still have time to watch another?
I have time for one more segment.
Okay. Sure.
I did want to note, because I'm seeing some of the comments go across, when someone said the police lie about whether or not you're being detained, that's actually one of the few things they can't. If you say, am I free to go? If they say yes, get up and walk out. If they grab you, then obviously you're not. But they actually have to be honest when they tell you you're free to go. Otherwise, it's not a voluntary statement. I don't know what would happen if you ask if you're free to go. They won't answer it. They'd be evasive like her. Instead of saying, yes, you're free to go, they'd say, why would you want to go? Come on, we're just talking. But if you say, am I free to go? And they say yes when you're really not, they would get into some trouble, but they would certainly be evasive on that. But of course, if you're ever being questioned by the police, ask if you're free to go. And if they say yes, that's when you say, okay, I'll see you later, and get up and walk out.
Okay.
Because then you'll know if they're telling the truth or not.
Yeah. Well, these days, is that all recorded?
Not as much as you would think. In a lot of places it is, but a lot of police departments and people still don't have body cams. Most of them, the interrogation rooms are recorded now. But there's still a lot of situations where they encounter people on the streets or in houses and stuff that don't have body cams, especially if you go into the smaller communities. I mean, fortunately, Durham has them. You know, Highway Patrol, if you ever deal with the North Carolina Highway Patrol, they just recently started rolling out body cams with literally in the last few months.
Oh.
So yeah, a lot of law enforcement agencies don't record things like they should.
Okay. All right. Okay. Let's watch a little snippet. Thank
Okay.
you.
And is that the response that your mom referred to as his 23-page rant?
Probably.
She had a lot of thoughts about that particular filing, didn't she?
Yes.
Okay. And she laid those out in an email to you. I know you remember that's the whole your non-negotiable is relocation.
Yes.
Do you recall having 2 long mediations to try to resolve your divorce without a trial?
Yes.
And were those mediations successful?
They were not.
Was Mr. Markel seeking to depose your mother as part of the divorce proceedings?
I don't remember that.
What about your brother, Charlie? Did he care about whether you moved to South Florida or not?
I think so. I mean, I think he would have liked for me to be closer to him and have the kids closer to him.
Would it have been okay with him if you had made a decision to stay in Tallahassee?
I would have imagined so, yes.
And after the relocation motion was denied, you were kind of like, well, maybe I have to stay in Tallahassee. Wasn't there at least a moment of that for you?
I mean, it wasn't maybe, that was the court's decision, and I respect the court's decision, and you know, I would make the best of it.
What about Charlie? Was he outraged by the court's decision?
I honestly don't remember him being outraged.
But to your mom, it was a big deal.
My mom was really upset.
Yeah. It was described by your mom in several places as like a life and death proposition. Do you agree with that?
Yeah, I think my mom thought my life in Tallahassee wasn't good.
Time is a curious thing. Sometimes I feel like it was yesterday.
Is it true that you never would have left Dan Markel without your mom's suggestions?
Objection leading.
Overruled. She may answer the question based on her own knowledge.
I would have left Danny regardless of anyone else's input. I was very unhappy.
Did you ever write that you would have never left him without your mom's suggestions?
I don't remember saying that.
Please refer to tab 41 and see if it refreshes your memory.
I do say here I wouldn't have done it on my own.
Okay. Did you specifically reference your mom?
I say my parents and brother's suggestions and support.
Okay.
I think because I wasn't happy, but part of me thought maybe I would just stay until the kids grew up.
Okay, we can stop here if you want to give some commentary, and then
Yeah, I mean, I
you
still
have
think
tons of work.
Yeah, unfortunately, I've got several murder trials coming up.
Oh.
No, I still think it's just fascinating to kind of see her. I'm still just the strategy of them not charging her, but she's also clearly worried about getting charged. So she's trying to be careful to not throw her family completely under the bus to have them roll on her. But she's also trying to make sure she says enough that the jury can say, well, they were guilty, but perhaps she wasn't. And you can tell that when the prosecutor's asking the direct questions about, would your parents have done this? Would your mother have done that? That's when she gets the most nervous. She's not being completely forthcoming here in a lot of this stuff. And again, she's still not getting used to the prosecutor having the receipts. asking some of these questions.
Mhm. Yeah. Have you ever been involved in a case that's sort of similar to this, where it stemmed from a divorce or some sort of child custody issue?
Yeah, I mean, well, a lot of murders involve domestic relations. And so, I mean, I've had those. I've had people, had a guy who killed his mother, his baby and his baby's mother. He was wanting to kill the mother of his baby mama, I'll just say mother-in-law, even though they
Sort of
weren't
like a
married.
mother-in-law.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he wanted to kill the mother-in-law. She wasn't home, so he just went ahead and killed the baby and the mother.
What?
Um,
When was this?
A few
When
years
did it?
ago,
I don't think I
Durham.
heard about it.
Yeah, and then he tried to
Oh.
kill himself, unsuccessfully. No, I mean, most of these murders, I mean, I've had people kill their mothers. I've had people kill their fathers. I've had people kill their siblings. The ex is certainly an easy one to kill, or a lot of these are not necessarily killing the ex. You're killing the boyfriend or the girlfriend of your ex or of your significant other out of jealousy or whatever. Because a lot of times you'll see in these controlling relationships is, the person, X wants to break up with Y and they're fine with it. But then when Y moves on, they still get jealous and pissed because X can do what he wants, but Y can't. And so, yeah, you see a lot of domestic murders and a lot of murders over family drama and things like that.
Yeah. So I guess this is a very general question, but what's your strategy to try to defend people who probably did commit some sort of heinous crime or murder or conspiracy?
I mean, my position is, and every lawyer practices differently. Some lawyers go in and say, my client has to tell me everything so I can do everything. I'm of the opinion I don't care what my client did or didn't do. That's not my issue. The state has to prove their case. My job is to hold the state and to show reasonable doubt. If my client tells me too much, it complicates my ability to put them on the stand, because despite what you see on TV and everything else, I can't put my client on the stand knowing they're going to lie. So, I mean, the way you do it is, I mean, I defend their rights. I mean, I'm not defending my client. I'm defending their rights. I mean, I'm not defending their actions. Most people arrested are guilty. That's just the simple fact of it. And a lot of them have done bad things. But one, you learn people aren't the product of their worst thing. But two, I focus on the case. I mean, maybe the right thing, maybe the wrong thing. Again, every lawyer does it different. But like I tell people too, like if you ask me the names of the victims in some of my cases, until we get to trial and I need to know it, I have no clue, because there's absolutely no benefit in me getting to humanize the victim. So why do I do that unless I need to? The victim has, my client has me representing them, sometimes their mother. The victim has everybody else, so they don't need me. And so you basically just kind of treat it as more of an academic exercise, kind of like doctors do with medicine. You can't get too worked up. You just kind of have to focus on what's in front of you and your process.
Yeah. And when you get court-appointed clients, is there some sort of budget to get a private investigator or somebody to help you?
Yeah, if when they're court appointed, you go through the Indigent Defense Services and you have to request funding, and then they'll give you funding at their indigent rates. I mean, that's the big problem with that is there's limited funding, but then also the amount of money that they're willing to pay is so low, it's hard to find experts willing to work for their rates. But you can get it. I mean, you can request investigators, experts, all that other stuff. Whether or not you get it is up to the IDS director. Either the judge, if it's a non-murder, you go through the judge. If it's a murder, you go through IDS directly, the Office of the Capitol Defender. And they decide whether or not you have to file a motion explaining why you need this expert, how much they're going to cost, and then they decide whether or not you get it. They're reasonably generous with them. I mean, it's not usually that hard to get them. The hard part is, again, the rates that they pay. Private investigator gets $55 an hour from court appointed. They're charging $150, $200 an hour for private. So
that's a huge difference.
I mean, just like lawyers. I mean, court appointed lawyers get $65, $75, $85, or $100 an hour, depending on the case.
Oh man. Yeah, that totally stinks, especially in this day and age when all the cost of living has gone up.
Yeah, I mean, it's like they talk about it. 15 years ago, they were paying $75 an hour for court-appointed work. Now, for a lot of the work, they're paying 65. So in 15 years, not only has it not adjusted for inflation, it's actually lower than it was 15 years ago.
Wow, that's
And they-
horrible.
Yeah.
Well, what can be done? You have to lobby the
lobby
legislature.
Yep. And let them know that these are constitutional rights. And I mean, you want adequately funded defense. I mean, everyone wants to, oh, they're guilty. Why should they do it? It's, you do it because, everyone's right. We don't defend the rights of you don't defend rights on the backs of innocent people, like a search. If the police illegally search your car and find nothing, you don't sue. So when you say, well, but they found drugs, so what's the point? Because that's what prevents them from being able to then go randomly and searching other people. I mean, it's, you defend the rights on the backs of the guilty, not the innocent, because again, an illegal search that doesn't turn up drugs doesn't turn into a lawsuit. And so the police never get held to account for that illegal search.
Okay. Have you ever been frightened by one of your clients?
Frightened? No, but threatened? Sure. I mean, I've been threatened multiple times by clients.
Oh.
I don't know if they scare me. I mean, you have to just be prepared and you just take care of yourself.
Well, what did they do? Did they just verbally say something?
I don't know everything they did. I mean, they tell people, the street talks. And so you'll get, they're offering a few $1,000s for someone to come after you, or occasionally you'll get a call by law enforcement saying there's chatter out there that this person wants you. But normally they're happy with their defense attorneys. It's rare. But I mean, I've had threats. I mean, then you just take precautions.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah.
do you ever worry about getting some sort of ineffective assistance of counsel claim down the road?
I don't. I mean, because I work hard for every case. I mean, I do my
Yeah.
job. It's just like bar complaints and stuff too. I mean, I've had lawyers who, when someone says, "Oh, I'm going to the bar," they're like, "Oh, I've got to get off your case." When my clients say I'm going to the bar, I'm like, "Here's the phone number." I mean, I'm confident in the work that I do. If it ever comes, it comes. I'll deal with it. But I've been doing this long enough, and knock on wood, it hasn't happened yet. Now, they will occasionally make what's called ineffective assistance of counsel claims for the purposes of appellate review or things like that, saying, "Oh, my attorney missed this." And you know what? God bless them. If it gets them off or it gets their conviction overturned, they can say what they want. But as far as the actual lawsuits, no, like I said, I'm confident in the work that I do.
Great. Okay. One last question, please. Okay. So you really don't want your client to spill the beans and tell you everything. Is that correct?
In most of the cases, that is true. Again, that's my practice, because part of the problem is if they tell me everything, first of all, how do I know they're telling me the truth? I mean, they lie to me just like they do everyone else. But B, it complicates my ability to put them on the stand. If I'm representing Judy and Judy says, "I did it, I shot that person," if I then put her on the stand and say, "Did you shoot that person?" and Judy says, "No, I didn't," I then have to tell the court that I know she's lying, and then I have to withdraw from the case because I can't put her on the stand to elicit a lie. There are some attorneys who have a different theory who tell me everything. There are some cases you need to know everything, but for the most part, our job is attacking the state's case. And so I go to them with the full discovery and we review it together and say, here's what they say. How are we going to show that it's wrong? Certain things, self-defense, alibi. I mean, there are certain things you have to know exactly what happened to claim. But, if my client was in a drive-by and shoots up someone's house, and if what they tell me wouldn't lead to a defense, I don't want to know it. Because how is it helpful for me to know that, yeah, I am the guy who did the drive-by and killed the 2-year-old? Doesn't help me at all. I just need to know, can the state prove it? If it leads to a defense, self-defense, alibi, duress, then yes, I need to know it. But if all they're going to do is essentially plead guilty, I don't want them to admit their guilt to me because I don't care.
Okay. Sandra asks, if Wendy is never charged, would you consider this the perfect murder? No, because
No, because
all
everyone
those
else.
people screwed up. They screwed up left and right.
Well,
starting,
and a lot of other people have been convicted. The perfect
Yeah.
murder everyone gets away with.
Yeah, like the Robert Wan murder, who was
Right.
a friend of mine who was stabbed to death in DC by some of his friends.
Mm.
So I've done some videos on that. That turned out to be the perfect murder because
Right.
it's been almost 20 years and no one has served any prison time for it. So, but that's going off on a tangent. Yeah, thank you so much.
right.
People are saying they love
No,
you.
no,
They
thank
think
you.
you're
Yeah.
great at explaining things. Thank you for your
Yeah.
time.
Well, I appreciate it. Anytime. I'm always happy to help.
Okay, great.
right.
Well, good luck on all
Thanks.
your big cases. Seems like you are so busy and I have work to do too. So
Yep. No, I appreciate it. I'll talk to you later.
Thank you. Have
Uh-huh.
a good evening.
Bye.
We'll be in touch.
Yep.
Bye. Okay, guys. So it's just me. And I just wanted to mention that one thing Daniel brought up was having to withdraw if you know for a fact that your client is about to lie on the stand or has lied on the stand. So I did have to withdraw from a divorce case years ago because of that issue. So you can't just knowingly put somebody there who's going to lie their head off. So anyway, my voice is dying as usual, but really appreciate you guys still watching and supporting this channel, helping me get to over 20K subscribers. And tomorrow, the great guest is going to be Tallahassee criminal defense attorney Katie Bogenschutz. She's coming back again to discuss all the latest news. I know she's been paying close attention to this whole Donna Adelson trial. And eventually, I am going to be in Leon County. So I'll be there to give live updates and summaries as long as I can keep talking and stuff. So need to get something else to drink here. Yeah, thank you guys for your super stickers and memberships and stuff. So yeah, we'll try to get Daniel. It's so hard to get real practicing active attorneys, especially people who are prosecutors or do criminal defense, because those are the types of attorneys who are constantly in court day in, day out. They have to go to jail, meet with clients. It's very stressful. Whereas, people like me who do civil litigation, it tends to have like ebbs and flows where I can actually do YouTube and stuff. So, okay, got to get going, got to stop talking. So, justice for Dan Markell. See you guys tomorrow with Katie Bogenschutz, 5:30 p.m. Eastern. Thank you.